Good evening. The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that we have lived and lived well. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. Direct interference in internal affairs of states among most ominous current challenges, His Majesty stated at Jeddah Summit. Strong strategic partnership between Bahrain and US praised. GCC and US released joint statement following Jeddah Summit. US announced extension of visit visas for Saudis to 10 years. Facebook users to be able to have up to 5 profiles. News in detail. Direct interference in internal affairs of states among most ominous current challenges, His Majesty stated at Jeddah Summit. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has stressed the need to unite efforts to stop direct interference in the internal affairs of states, saying that it was one of the most ominous current challenges and it violates the principles and rights guaranteed by international laws. In his speech at the Jeddah Security and Development Summit, His Majesty the King also called for deep and balanced ways to resolve the crises and conflicts that have beset the Middle East, an important international strategic region that has suffered for years from difficult political, security and economic conditions and from very dangerous challenges. The leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council, Jordan, Egypt, Iraq and the US participated in the summit in the Red Sea city of Jeddah. Strong strategic partnership between Bahrain and US praised. Bahrain and the US are strategic partners for regional peace and security, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa said yesterday. He was meeting in the presence of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, US President Joe Biden during the Jeddah Security and Development Summit. His Majesty the King hailed long-standing Bahrain-US relations, which yielded solid cooperation and joint coordination in support of regional and global security and stability, describing the Kingdom of Bahrain and the United States as strategic partners for regional and global peace and security. His Majesty the King commended the US President's participation in the Jeddah Security and Development Summit in continuation of the US pivotal role in strengthening GCC-American cooperation and confronting issues and challenges. He praised President Biden's interest in supporting bilateral relations binding the two friendly countries and people. The two leaders discussed key bilateral issues and ways of supporting joint cooperation to contribute to regional stability and security. In addition to issues on the agenda of the Jeddah Security and Development Summit, they affirmed commitment to continue consolidating between the two friendly countries and people in the defense, security, economic and trade fields. President Biden stressed his country's appreciation of the solid strategic partnership between the Kingdom of Bahrain and the United States of America, noting the presence of the 5th US Fleet in the kingdom. His Majesty the King returned from Saudi Arabia. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has returned to Bahrain from Saudi Arabia after leading the kingdom's delegation to the Jeddah Security and Development Summit at the invitation of custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. Bahrain extended relief aid to quake-hit people in Afghanistan. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa ordered urgent humanitarian relief aid to the dispatched to quake-stricken people in Afghanistan. His Majesty the King directed the Royal Humanitarian Foundation, chaired by His Majesty the King's representative for humanitarian work and youth affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, to supervise the relief aid drive. Based on the royal directives, the foundation signed an agreement with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees in support of efforts to extend relief aid to quake-hit Afghanistan. Under the deal, a Royal Humanitarian Foundation delegation will pay a visit to the quake-stricken regions in Afghanistan and distribute relief aid to people. National Space Science Authority and Bahrain International Air Show to organize Space Sector Forum. The Arab Space Cooperation Group and Bahrain International Air Show will organize a specialized space sector forum. National Space Science Authority's CEO Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim Al Asiri confirmed the significance of the distinctive forum on the sidelines of the Bahrain International Air Show and the implementation of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's vision to establish a sustainable national space and science sector and promote national scientific and research capabilities. Al-Asiri stressed the forum's ability to diversify the economy and highlight Bahrain's position regionally and internationally. Manama Central Market revamp efforts are in good progress. Efforts are in full swing to fully revamp facilities and services at the Manama Central Market to better cater for the needs of Bahraini merchants and their customers. 3 major commercial complexes, which include 665 units, form part of the impressive market development featuring state-of-the-art environmentally friendly elements, officials outlined. Men acting as bank staff dupe woman of BD 1000. Appeal filed against a 5-year jail term awarded to 2 men convicted of conning a woman out of BD 1000 posing as bank agents got rejected. The High Appeals Court confirmed the jail terms and BD 1000 fine slapped on each of the men. The woman, in her complaint filed with the police, said that the men allegedly threatened during a call to disclose the information of her card unless she wanted to get the card suspended. Today's COVID updates. COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. ICRF Thirst Quenchers 2022 team held its 3rd Summer Awareness Program today. The basic purpose of this program is to create awareness towards a healthy and safe summer 2022. The 3rd of the series was held today at a work site in Diyar Al Muharrak for around 275 workers. The Thirst Quenchers 2022 team distributed bottled water, fruits and Laban. All the workers were also provided with lunch packets, which was sponsored by Mr. Suraj. ICRF Thirst Quenchers intends to continue this weekly event for the next 8 weeks in various work sites as they are one of the most affected toiling under the summer heat. World NRI Council invites applications for prestigious Pravasi Ratna Awards 2022. One of the world's leading NRI welfare organizations, World NRI Council is inviting applications and nominations for the much anticipated 2022 edition of its Pravasi Ratna Awards. India-based World NRI Council is a not-for-profit organization for the welfare and empowerment of non-residential Indians, persons of Indian origin and ex-NRIs who have returned back from their service to India. Individuals and organizations led by NRIs located in India or abroad can apply for the nominated honor if they have contributed to the physiological, psychological and financial empowerment and betterment of the NRI community, residents of the country they serve, and ultimately the motherland, India, through their profession, service or through operations. Social initiatives and ventures, NRI welfare organizations functioning abroad, supporting the Indian diaspora in their expatriate life can also apply or be nominated for the awards. Organizations in India that are helping in the rehabilitation and financial stability of NRIs returning from abroad can also be considered eligible for the awards. Direct application or nominations for both Pravasi Ratna Award and Rashtra Ratna Award can be made by visiting the World NRI Council website at www.worldnricouncil.org. Apart from the personal and professional biodata, applicants and nominators must provide a statement of purpose not exceeding 500 words, describing why they or their nominations must be considered for the awards. Applications or nominations must be submitted via email to awards@worldnricouncil.org on or before 5 p.m. 31st August 2022. Now we will be back after a very short break.
All your favorite products under one roof in Bahrain at 27-year-old Megamart and Macromart. Bakery, fresh meat and fish, fruits and vegetables, sweets and snacks, ready-to-eat foods, dairy products, grocery or consumer goods. Megamart and Macromart, full of goodness.
Welcome back. GCC and US released a joint statement following Jeddah summit. The US and Gulf Cooperation Council countries released a joint statement on Saturday following the meeting of GCC leaders with US President Joe Biden in Jeddah. The GCC leaders highlighted the historic partnership with the US and reaffirmed their keenness to build on the achievements of Saturday's summit and previous summits to strengthen cooperation in all fields. During the meeting, which addressed global challenges and regional affairs, the leaders reaffirmed their commitment to guarantee the region's security and stability and voiced their support for all diplomatic efforts which aim to reduce regional tensions. They also discussed strengthening their regional cooperation on the levels of security, intelligence, and defense and boosting their efforts to guarantee the safety of naval passages. They also voiced their support for efforts which guarantee the Gulf remains free of mass destruction weapons, meaning preventing from developing a nuclear weapon. US announced extension of visit visas to Saudis to 10 years. The United States mission to Saudi Arabia announced on Saturday an increase in the validity of visitor visas for Saudi citizens from 5 to 10 years as of August 1, 2022. In close cooperation with the Saudi government, an agreement has been reached to extend the validity of visitor visas on a reciprocal basis to further facilitate tourism and business between our nations. Under the Interview Waiver program, Saudi citizens over 50 years of age who are renewing visitor visas that have been expired or fewer than 48 months may qualify for a waiver or in-person interviews. Unrealistic energy policies will lead to inflation, said Saudi Crown Prince. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, addressing a US Arab summit, said on Saturday that unified efforts were required to support the global economy and that unrealistic policies regarding energy sources would only lead to inflation. Adopting unrealistic policies to reduce emissions by excluding main sources of energy will lead in coming years to unprecedented inflation and an increase in energy prices and rising unemployment and worsening of serious social and security problems, he said. 4,000 expatriates left Kuwait in 3 months. The labor market for expatriates who are 60 years and above continue to suffer because of the cost of renewing the work permits, which exceed 800 dinars. A recent report issued by the Public Authority for Manpower, in cooperation with the Central Administration of Statistics, revealed more than 4,000 expatriates 60 years and above have left the country during the first quarter of this year. The government report pointed out that the decline hit all types of workers from this category of workers, whether university graduates or holders of a high school certificate, while their numbers stabilized until last April as 65,000 resident workers. Kuwait hit with earthquake of magnitude 2.9. An earthquake of magnitude 2.9 occurred at a shallow depth of 8 km beneath the epicenter near southwest of Al Ahmadi Governorate Saturday at 2:36 a.m., said the Kuwait National Seismic Network. Facebook users to be able to have up to 5 profiles. Meta platforms will start letting more users create multiple profiles with their Facebook accounts, the country's latest attempt to encourage posting and sharing on its social network. As part of a test, certain Facebook members will be able to create as many as 4 additional profiles, and each one won't need to include a person's real name or identity. Users could have one for friends and another for co-workers, for example, each with its own feed, but they will only be able to comment or like another post with one profile. Additional profiles are still required to adhere to Facebook's content policies and will tie back to users' core account, meaning rule violations on one profile will affect the others, the company said. UK gets ready for travel disruptions as temperatures may hit 40 degrees Celsius. The British government held an emergency response meeting Saturday to plan for record high temperatures next week after weather authorities issued their first ever red warning for extreme heat. The alert covers large parts of England on Monday and Tuesday, when temperatures may reach 40 degrees Celsius for the first time, posing a risk of serious illness and even deaths among healthy people. Cargo plane crashed in Greece. An Antonov cargo plane operated by a Ukraine airline crashed Saturday near the city of Kavala in northern Greece, authorities said. Local residents reported seeing a fireball and hearing explosions for 2 hours after the crash. Greek civil aviation authorities said the flight was heading from Siberia to Jordan. The AN-12, a Soviet-built turboprop aircraft, was operated by cargo carrier Meridian, Associated Press reported. Greek media reported there were 8 people on the plane and that it was carrying 12 tons of dangerous materials, mostly explosives. But local officials said they had no specific information on the cargo and provided varying number of people on board. UK launched aviation charter to address airport disruption. The British government launched an aviation passenger charter on Sunday to help passengers know their rights if they are faced with problems at airports after the widespread disruption seen in this year. Long queues and cancelled flights caused by staff shortages have caused chaos at times, prompting airlines to cut back their schedules as the industry struggles to keep up with a surge in demand after the COVID-19 pandemic, Reuters reported. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.